When medicine abandons hope, imagine lying in bed for 2 long years, your body refusing to obey commands, doctors shrugging helplessly, loved ones losing hope, while you merely exist, not living but waiting for the end. This was how Sophia Jensen's story began, a woman who realized in one profound moment that if she didn't stand up, no one would extend a helping hand. The most terrifying aspect isn't the illness itself. What's truly frightening is realizing you've become irrelevant, that the system has written you off, that even your physician, looking directly into your eyes, calmly suggests applying for disability benefits. But one thought pierced through Sophia's despair. What if I can find my own path? What if there are strengths within me that no one has mentioned? It was precisely then that she discovered a mysterious Japanese healing system virtually unknown in the Western world, and accomplished what seemed impossible. She rose from her bed and reclaimed her life. Today, you'll learn how she achieved this remarkable transformation. If you're still watching this video, write fear in the comments and share what frightens you most. Loss of mobility, memory deterioration, or the will to live. If you haven't yet subscribed, I recommend following the Conscious Knowledge channel and supporting us through the link in the description. Your support enables us to create valuable and inspiring content for you. Now let's begin. When medical science surrenders, the true turning point in Sophia's story occurred when she faced her darkest hour. She wasn't even 50 when struck by what everyone dreads most: complete helplessness. A condition that doctors struggled even to name properly confined her to bed, where pain, weakness, and fatigue became her constant companions. Her attending physician, Dr. Miller, suggested applying for permanent disability benefits, not as a temporary solution but as a life sentence. I lay there thinking, she recalled, is this truly it? Will my life now consist merely of waiting for death? But most importantly, why isn't anyone fighting for me? The answer was devastating, because everyone else had already surrendered, everyone except Sophia herself. At that moment, she remembered an old fable about two frogs that fell into a jar of milk. One stopped struggling and drowned, while the second continued fighting until it churned the milk into butter and escaped. I am that second frog, Sophia declared to herself. I will not drown in this milk. From that day forward, she ceased relying on others and began searching, reading, experimenting, making mistakes, and eventually stumbled upon something that changed everything. A forgotten Japanese healing system that no one around her had even heard of. Yet what initiated her return to life might seem strange to many, while simultaneously frighteningly logical. The discovery, an unconventional approach to healing, the system Sophia discovered was called the Hiroshi Tanaka Method, created by a Japanese engineer who, despite doctors' dire prognosis, not only survived but developed his own health philosophy. His approach was unconventional. He asserted that most illnesses stem not from viruses or aging but from poor circulation and improper posture. Misaligned vertebrae, compressed blood vessels, and toxin-laden blood were, in his view, what gradually but inexorably destroyed the body. Sophia immersed herself in studying his works and immediately understood. This system defied conventional paradigms. No medications, no surgeries, only discipline, simple actions, and faith in the body's inherent power to heal itself. She began adapting Japanese principles to Western realities. Cold environments, small apartments, absence of specialized equipment. Skeptics laughed, relatives doubted, doctors remained silent. But Sophia, lying on the floor with a roll under her neck and a book on her chest, continued performing simple exercises daily that others dismissed as foolish. After just a few weeks, she could sit up, then stand, then walk again. However, everything began with something unexpected: her bed, or more precisely, abandoning it entirely. Principle 1: healing while you sleep. You can heal even while sleeping if you sleep correctly. Sophia Jensen maintained. The first element she changed was her bed. She abandoned her soft mattress and moved her bed frame to the floor. Instead of a mattress, she used 2 thick camel wool blankets folded together with a sheet on top. Uncomfortable. Yes, but according to her, this precise change yielded immediate results. The Tanaka system asserts, a firm surface aligns the spine and initiates healthy circulation. While you sleep, your body liberates itself from stagnation, organs breathe better, swelling subsides, back pain disappears, and you awaken, refreshed rather than exhausted. Sophia recalled how after 1 week of sleeping this way, she no longer woke up with numbness in her legs. After 2 weeks, she experienced less pain, and most importantly, lightness returned, that very sensation many consider permanently lost. This transformed her sleep quality dramatically, resulting in more energy throughout her waking hours. Modern mattresses create comfort at the expense of alignment. She would later explain. They allow the spine to sink and curve unnaturally, compressing vital nerves and blood vessels. My body initially protested against the firm surface, but after 3 nights, it was as if something inside me began to rearrange itself. The discomfort was temporary, but the healing was profound and lasting. However, her approach to sleep didn't end with the surface alone. What she used instead of a pillow would seem strange to many, but it provided powerful benefits for her brain and neck. Principle 2. Forget about pillows. Sophia quickly realized that conventional pillows are enemies of the spine. Soft, fluffy, comfortable, yet they precisely misalign cervical vertebrae, compress blood vessels, and impede blood flow to the brain. Every night I went to bed without suspecting I was harming myself, she said. Instead of a pillow, she crafted a firm neck roll. She took an ordinary rolling pin, wrapped it in fabric, sewed the edges, and created a dense, rigid support specifically for the base of her skull. This wasn't about comfort, it was therapeutic. Her neck aligned properly, circulation improved, and even headaches became rare. Many laughed, asking, "You sleep on a stick?" Sophia simply replied, "Wes, and I no longer experience dizziness. Such a solution seems peculiar until you feel the results." She explained that the neck roll supports the natural curve of the cervical spine without pushing the head forward, allowing the delicate vertebrae and nerves in the neck to decompress overnight. When I first tried it, I thought it would be impossible to sleep, she admitted. But after 15 minutes, something remarkable happened. My entire upper body seemed to melt into a state of relaxation I hadn't experienced in years. This wasn't merely a matter of physical support, it represented a philosophical shift in how she approached healing. Rather than seeking momentary comfort that masked problems, she embraced temporary discomfort that facilitated genuine healing. But this was just the second step. The most important thing wasn't simply lying down but initiating movement without pain, without strain, but with the understanding that every movement represents life returning to the body. Principle 3. The Golden Fish Exercise. When I performed this exercise, I felt as though my body was awakening in. Sophie said she named it the Golden Fish because it resembled the gentle swaying of a fish in water, performed while lying on a firm surface with hands interlocked behind the neck and legs extended. All she needed to do was sway her feet right and left as if waves were passing through her body. A simple movement, yes, but it initiated vibration throughout the spine. This vibration expelled toxins, released nerve compression, and improved blood circulation. She began each day with this practice. No pills, no massages, no doctors. After just 2 weeks of regular practice, Sophia noticed the heaviness in her lower back disappearing, and remarkably, breathing became easier. My body became mine again, she wrote. The subtle undulating movement created a ripple effect through my entire nervous system. She later explained to her students, Western medicine often focuses on treating symptoms individually, a pill for this pain, a procedure for that limitation. But the Tanaka method understands that the body functions as an integrated system. By introducing gentle wave-like movements, you're not just moving your feet, you're communicating with every vertebra, every nerve pathway, every cellular structure. The exercise appeared deceptively simple, but its effects were profound. Each morning, she would perform the Golden Fish for 5 to 15 minutes, gradually increasing duration as her strength returned. During this time, she visualized healing energy flowing from her feet up through her spine, imagining blocked pathways reopening like streams after a long drought. However, pain in her legs, swelling, and thrombophlebitis remained. To address circulatory issues, she needed another strange yet remarkably effective movement that ultimately saved her vascular system. Principle 4. From thrombophlebitis to freedom of movement. My legs felt heavy as lead, my veins ached, swelling persisted, and I couldn't stand for more than a couple of minutes, Sophia recalled. Doctors again seemed helpless, but she continued searching for solutions and discovered one in a simple, almost childlike exercise. The technique required lying on her back on a firm surface, placing a neck roll beneath her neck, raising both arms and legs at right angles to her body, and gently shaking them not forcefully but softly, as if bouncing imaginary balloons. After several minutes of this simple movement, blood began circulating differently, numbness disappeared, and lightness returned to her fingers. Sophia performed this daily, and within a month, she forgot what swelling felt like. It was as if I had shed heavy shackles, she said. But the effect extended beyond physical relief. With each movement came renewed confidence. She no longer felt hostage to her own body. The principle behind this exercise is brilliantly simple. She would later teach others. When you elevate your limbs and create gentle vibration, you're essentially performing a passive pump action on your circulatory system. Blood that has pooled in the extremities begins to move, clots that might be forming get broken up, and fresh nutrient-rich blood flows areas that have been deprived. She discovered that this exercise was particularly effective when performed in the early evening, a time when many people experience increased swelling and discomfort. By incorporating it into her daily routine, she gradually rebuilt the strength and resilience of her vascular system. Medical professionals had told her that her thrombophlebitis would be a lifelong condition requiring medication and compression stockings. Yet through this deceptively simple practice, she experienced improvements that conventional treatments had failed to provide. The swelling receded, the discoloration faded, and the constant aching diminished until it became merely a memory. However, even this wasn't enough because the body operates as an interconnected system. If one part functions, but another doesn't, health cannot be sustained. That's precisely why her next step involved an exercise to restore internal connections between organs. Principle 5. Restoring internal bodily connections. I realized that until the body functions as a unified whole, it cannot heal itself, Sophia wrote. Illness often destroys not only muscles and organs but also internal harmony. Everything becomes fragmented. Arms separate, legs separate, mind separate. To restore this hidden balance, she began performing an exercise that initially seemed almost meditative. Lying on her back with a roll under her neck, she bent her knees, joined her feet together, did the same with her hands, connecting her palms over her chest, closed her eyes, and simply lay still for 10 minutes. It sounds too simple, but precisely in this stillness, in this position, restructuring began, blood pressure equalized, breathing steadied, anxiety dissipated. These were my 10 minutes of genuine rebooting. She recalled, in modern medicine, we tend to compartmentalize the body, cardiology for the heart, neurology for the nervous system, orthopedics for the bones. She later explained, but this fragmented approach misses the fundamental truth that the Tanaka Method embraces everything is connected through multiple systems: circulatory, nervous, lymphatic, fascial. When you position the body in symmetry with key points connected, you're essentially creating closed circuits that allow energy and information to flow more freely. This seemingly passive exercise activated what Eastern healing traditions call the body's energy meridians. By connecting the hands and feet, she was completing energetic pathways that had been disrupted by disease and inactivity. The symmetrical positioning also balanced the autonomic nervous system, shifting it from stress response toward restorative functioning. During those 10 minutes, I wasn't doing anything by conventional standards, she said, but internally profound reorganization was occurring. My organs were relearning how to communicate with each other. My nervous system was recalibrating and my mind was reconnecting with parts of my body that had felt foreign and beyond control. But the body isn't merely structure, it's also energy. Flows we rarely perceive but which determine our condition. Here the final element entered her practice, a breathing that revitalizes everything. Principle 6. Healing breath. We all breathe, but almost no one does it correctly. Sophie said, the final exercise incorporated into her system she called breathing gymnastics for life. Performed sitting cross-legged directly on her bedding, no need to stand up, no need for strength, only attention to oneself. She would begin swaying left and right in a slow rhythm while simultaneously contracting and expanding her abdomen. This breathing activated internal organs, improved digestion, relieved spasms, and calmed the nervous system. I practiced this daily and felt an inner stillness emerging, she wrote. This wasn't merely an exercise but a ritual. Sophia began each day with it, and during these moments, she felt her body was no longer her enemy but had once again become her ally. Western culture teaches us to breathe primarily using our chest muscles, she would later explain to her students. But this shallow breathing activates stress responses and limits oxygen exchange. The Tanaka breathing method engages the diaphragm fully, massaging internal organs with each breath cycle and stimulating the vagus nerve, the primary regulator of our parasympathetic rest and digest system. Through this rhythmic breathing combined with gentle swaying, she created what neurologists now recognize as a form of bilateral stimulation that helps integrate the brain's hemispheres and process trauma held in the body. Each breath cycle became a message to her nervous system. It was safe to heal, safe to let go of protective patterns that had become limitations. I discovered that breath is not just about oxygen, she said. It's the most fundamental rhythm of life, the pattern that connects all bodily systems. When you consciously alter your breathing, you're speaking directly to your body's deepest intelligence, bypassing the limitations of analytical thought and connecting with the wisdom of cellular memory. However, the most incredible transformation occurred not during exercises but 3 months after she began this journey, when for the first time in 2 years, she stood on her feet and went somewhere everyone had long stopped expecting her to see: her doctor. Dr. Miller's reaction was nothing short of shocking. If you're still watching this video and find these reflections valuable, write breath in the comments and share whether you've ever noticed how your state changes with deep, conscious breathing. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend following our channel and supporting us through the link in the description. Your support helps us create useful and inspiring content for you. Return from hopelessness to life. I walked into the hospital not as patient but as a victor, Sophia recalled. The doctor who once suggested she apply for disability benefits couldn't believe his eyes. Seeing her, he uttered just one thing: Sophia, you're alive. She removed from her bag a neatly printed sheet describing the Tanaka system, eager to share not a complaint, not a request, but a solution. She hoped someone else might rise to their feet as she had, that the doctor would pass this information to others. But his response was icicled. You're not the first to bring me such papers. I receive them daily. He simply placed her sheet in a general pile. Sophia stood in silence, no gratitude, no interest. It was a moment of bitterness but also enlightenment. She realized that if she wanted to help people, she needed to do it herself rather than wait for conventional medicine to take notice. She became an instructor, began conducting classes, writing books, and inspiring others through her example. "I'm not a theory, I'm proof. Up and so can you," she would tell them. One Dr. Miller dismissed my experience. She later shared with her students, "I initially felt devastated. Here was tangible evidence of recovery that defied medical expectations, yet it was treated as just another anecdote, another false hope. But in that moment of rejection, I understood something profound. Healing isn't just about physical techniques. It's about reclaiming your power in a system designed to make you dependent on external authorities." This realization transformed her approach. Rather than seeking validation from the medical establishment, she began documenting her journey meticulously, photographing her progress, recording measurements of mobility and function, creating evidence that couldn't be dismissed as merely subjective improvement. "The techniques of the Tanaka Method saved my body," she wrote, "but it was the philosophy behind them that saved my spirit. Western medicine excels at acute intervention but struggles with chronic conditions because it separates the person from their healing process. The most revolutionary aspect of this approach isn't the exercises themselves, but the shift in perspective from patient to participant, from victim to creator." Her classes began small, just 3 students in her living room. But as word spread of her remarkable recovery, more people came seeking hope. She never promised miracles, only possibilities. "I can't guarantee you'll have the same results," she would tell new students, "but I can guarantee that if you don't try, nothing will change." The ultimate lesson, the power within. Sophia Jensen's most important lesson proved to be the simplest yet most frequently forgotten principle. Even when medicine gives up on someone, they retain the most essential thing, the power within. She didn't believe in miracles. She built them herself day by day, exercise by exercise, step by step. Her body, which had seemed lost, began responding. Many waited for external help, but she found the solution within, without expensive medications, without doctors, without surgeries, armed only with persistence, faith, and a Japanese system that transformed her life and potentially could change yours. "If you make brushing your teeth a habit, why not make healing yourself a habit as well?" she would say. "Everything you need is already within you. All that remains is to begin." The human body possesses an innate intelligence far beyond what medical science currently comprehends, she wrote in her memoir. "When we create the right conditions through alignment, circulation, breathing, and mental focus, the body activates its own pharmacy of healing compounds, its own electrical system for tissue repair, its own architectural wisdom for structural reorganization." Her recovery wasn't merely about regaining physical function, but reclaiming her relationship with her body. "Before my illness, I lived in my body without truly inhabiting it," she reflected. "I treated it like a machine expected to perform without maintenance. The Tanaka Method taught me to listen to the subtle language of sensation, to distinguish between productive discomfort that signals healing and destructive pain that indicates harm. This sensitivity became her greatest teaching tool. As her students practiced the techniques, she would guide them to notice not just the physical movements, but the internal responses, the slight warming of previously cold areas, the gentle pulsing of blood into restricted tissues, the almost imperceptible unwinding of chronic tension patterns. "Healing isn't linear," she would remind them. "There will be days of remarkable progress followed by setbacks that test your resolve. The key is consistency without rigidity, determination without force. The body responds to invitation, not demand." If you're still watching this video and find these reflections valuable, write strength in the comments and share which of Sophia Jensen's principles inspired you most. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend following our channel and supporting us through the link in the description. Your support helps us create useful and inspiring content for you. Until next time.